Get those Cybermen out.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Cybermen. This is a last minute video. There's just been some drama over in France on the Webcam tournament. Obviously, it's a global tournament because it's online, so we had people from the US and people from Oceania, people from Asia playing in that. And one of the top players, I'm not going to mention names and I'm going to block the name out just because I really want to talk about the event and what we should do in this case rather than singling people out and talking about people, specific people. But one of the players was stacking their deck. If you look at the clips, which I'll show you shortly, you can see them stacking the deck and also drawing extra cards. I didn't watch the stream all the way through, so I didn't see everything, but there was a lot of it apparently in all the games. He was stacking his deck, cutting his deck into 3 pieces, and then taking the part that was on top and putting it back on top, and shuffling his deck so that one card stayed on top. Now, it's hard to see when people do that because they do cut it in 3 and you just assume, yep, he's cutting. But then he grabs the one that he put on top and keeps it on top. You have to really pay attention to that. And what I really wanted to talk about is this going to be an issue? We've had people talking about cheating in webcam events, and there's been some accusations thrown around, but nothing this blatant. It's on multiple clips, which I'll show you. And it's very clear that this player was doing it on purpose. It's not an accident, which can sometimes happen. This is very obvious. What do we do in this case? Does this person need to forfeit their prizing and that's it? Or is it a ban-worthy situation, especially if we've got multiple clips showing it happening? Is that where this player needs to be banned? Or players that do this need to be banned for a certain amount of time? Or... you know, what do we do in terms of webcams going forward? It's really hard, especially during COVID, even in face-to-face battles that we have here. You don't touch your opponent's deck. You don't do any of that. So you have to rely on your opponent to cut it properly and shuffle and randomize properly. I think I haven't had any issues as far as I know with other players in my tournaments that I played in. You know, you can tell your opponent how to cut. I think that's maybe something people need to do more often. Tell them how they want the deck cut and maybe make sure they shuffle it properly. It just is hard to see though. You know, you're looking at a little screen that's sometimes grainy and, you know, it's a bit of a pain. What can you do? I really want to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you think about how we can kind of mitigate this and what we should do in terms of sorting out problems that have already happened. This is a tournament that happened today, so you know, how do you deal with that? Do you have to, since prizing hasn't been given out, do they cancel their prizing? You know, I don't know. Anyway, let's get into it. I'll show you the first video now, and I'll talk about it at the same time. All right, so I've got this paused now. I'm gonna do it without audio just because I don't speak French. Apologies. Card Maniacs, awesome stream. I really love the way they set it up. It's really nice to see. But let me talk over the top of this. So we're looking at the top player here. I've blanked out their name on purpose. So let's not talk about that. I don't want people mentioning it in the comments. This isn't a witch hunt. I don't want to talk about the individual person. I want to talk about what happened and what do you think should happen in terms of bans and things like that. So let's start the video. I'll pause it a few times as we're going. So you can see him shuffling. If you just watch, he never changes the top card of the deck. So the top card of the deck stays the same, as you can see there. He doesn't change it, and then he cuts, and he puts that same one that was on top. Let's just pause, and I'll show you, see if we can bring it back a bit. So that is the one on top there. Let's go back a little bit more. The one in the middle is the top stack that was on the deck that he didn't shuffle. So now he puts it back on top. So that top part never got shuffled the whole time. So he knows what his whole hand is going to be potentially. And then something else I wanted to point out here is if you watch how many cards he picks up here, he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And he's like, okay, I need one more, 7. So he's drawing 7 cards. He counted them in hand, so it's not an accident. Very clearly drawing 7 cards. And that's the end of that vid. But as you can see, he clearly didn't shuffle the deck on purpose, cut and kept those cards at the top on purpose, and then drew 6. He might have seen that he didn't draw the card he needed as the 6th card, because he might have done it wrong, who knows, and drawn an extra card. Regardless, drawing 7 cards, that is also against the rules. Let's look at the next video now. Okay, so this is a separate game against a different player, just so we can see it happening in a few different games. But he does the same deck cut here, same shuffle. So you can see he does not shuffle the front of the deck, and you can see how he's holding it like that. I'm not sure why. I think that makes it easier to make sure he doesn't fix the stuff with the top 6 cards. So he's definitely not shuffling that top couple of cards there. And then he is keeping that one. So the one in the middle was the top one, and then doing the same thing. So we don't get to see here him doing anything weird with his hand, but it's just showing that even the way he put the top one down was a bit weird. So he grabs like the bottom first. Let's show you. I just want you to see, so you can kind of watch out for this when you are playing against someone. It's hard because you're shuffling your own deck as well. So he grabs the middle, and then he grabs the top, and then he grabs the bottom. So it looks like he's shuffling it, and then the middle, the top one goes back on top, and then he draws his hand again. So it's very, very sneaky. I haven't seen this particular type of deck stacking before. To be honest, I've always wondered how people stack their deck, because I feel like it's a pretty difficult thing to do. But he's obviously, before he's gone on camera, set the top 6 cards to what he needs to win, and then shuffled it that way. It's just easy, really easy now that I tell you about it, or now that I look at it, to see it. But at the time, you're probably not thinking about it. You're about to do your match. You're looking at your own cards, and you're not necessarily thinking about your opponent like cheating or stacking their deck. So my question is, I mean, what can you do in that situation? Do you have to do your deck shuffle, do your cutting and everything, and then your opponent does it? Maybe there's a rule around that where you watch your opponent do it and then you do it, vice versa. Or do you have to have a judge at each table? That seems unreasonable, because we don't have enough judges for that. You know, most of the judges, like myself, store judges and things, are playing in these tournaments, so you're not looking at other people's games. So, you know, what do you think? Tell me what you think we should do. I can, you know, recommend things to TOs, and I think everybody should talk about this, because it is becoming an issue. We've had people talking about in some of the Oceania tournaments, people stacking and things like that, but it hasn't been anything so blatant as this. And then again, what do you think should happen to a player who does this? Should they be banned? Should they just have their prizing forfeited? I feel like having your prizing forfeited isn't a big enough punishment for that. That is like blatant trying, you know, cheating really badly. It's not, you know, accidentally misshuffling your deck or something, which can happen, you know. It's still cause for, you know, game loss and things like that, but it's not ban worthy, whereas this is blatant cheating. So let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Again, I don't want any names dropped. If you can please avoid that. I'll be deleting comments if anybody mentions names, but just get the discussion going and let me know what you think about webcam tournaments in general. Cheers, guys. Hope you had a happy new year. Thanks for watching, guys. We really appreciate your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe, tell your friends, share the video, comment down below, and I'll try to reply to everyone. We have now got a store on our website for all Australian residents. So jump on to www.thecybermen.com/shop, and you can grab your pre-orders for set 12, pre-orders for set 13, and a bunch of other fun stuff, including custom mats and things like that. We'll be putting some merch up there as well at some point in the next month or so. So look out for that. Again, thanks for watching.